everyone. Welcome. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. This is the regular meeting of the School District of Waukesha Board of Education. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Ettinger, can you please verify that the meeting has been properly posted?
Yes, it has.
And would you take the roll call, please?
Mark Borowski.
Here.
Eric Brooks.
Here.
Betty Koenig.
Here.
Carrie Kozlowski. Here. Markel Moore.
Here.
Diane Voigt.
Here.
Anthony Zenobia.
Here.
David Wad.
Here.
Kelly Piasek.
Here. We're going to start by celebrating our students tonight, and I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Siebert and our athletic directors.
All right, thank you, Dr. Piasek. So as you said, we are going to highlight our spring athletic and activity successes here tonight. We have tons to be Waukesha proud of. We're going to begin with Mr. Dan Domak, athletic director, for at least a few more weeks, maybe, till the end of the month. Thank you for your support, Dan, and for helping us out, coming back into the saddle. And tell us all about the great things from the spring at Waukesha North.
Okay, baseball players, come on up. The 23-24 baseball season was very successful. The team went 19-9 overall, finished in 5th place in the Classic 8 conference. We were undefeated in non-conference play, 10-0, and we also made it to sectionals. This is the first sectional appearance for Waukesha North since 2019. So they had a tremendous season. So thanks, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Is Elena here? Yeah. Come on up. I think Elena just had dental surgery today, and that's why she's still using the wall. So we appreciate her being here. Congratulations to Anna Fickle, the senior editor of the Waukesha North Yearbook. With Anna's guidance, the Waukesha North Yearbook was named to Walsworth Gallery of Excellence Award. This award is given to the top 10% of yearbooks published by Walsworth. This was the 9th year in a row that Waukesha North has received this award. Also, Elena was in charge of the 50-year yearbook of Waukesha North High School. So a lot of pressure on her to get information in there. So congratulations. Wonderful job. Is Braden here? Come on up. Braden Metzger has gone above and beyond this year to make sure that all actors, choirs, and bands have adequate sound for their performance. His dedication to improving the quality of our productions has not gone unnoticed within the community. We are so grateful for his hard work and positive attitude. So again, if you're looking for a job, they always have positions over there.
Yes, we do.
So thanks for everything. Thank you. Allie and Hannah. Allie and Hannah were part of our team state for track this year. They both qualified in the disc, and they did very well for us. And again, for them to be here, we really appreciate that they could give us this time today. So thanks a lot. All right. Our 4x800 relay team, if I could have those guys up. All right, Mr. Mosley, I'm going to have you read this for me, okay? Come right up over here. Since you're a senior, you never have to see me again after.
So 4x800 meter relay team of Julian Romano, Reese Ellingson, Eno Mosley, and Brody Engeling with alternates Cameron Poole and Zach Abdullah qualified for the state track meet this year in lacrosse, placed 3rd overall at sectionals, and ended up racing at the highest stage, which was an absolute honor.
You stop there.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for all your support.
right, and finally, our last team that we want to bring up is our golf team. Coach Knuth and Coach Johnson are both here, and Coach Knuth is going to read what we have on the document. Mr. Johnson did not want to come up, but since I said his name, I
Can't pass up. Are we on TV, right? Yeah, we got to get on TV. Well, thanks a lot for having us. I bet you guys look forward to this part of the meeting. You know, seeing all these kids come up here and they're so proud, and you guys kind of build the infrastructure for them to kind of do this kind of stuff. So we appreciate it. Well, before I forget everything, this is a junior, Connor Gurton. He is going to play golf for us again next year. A lot of the guys had things going on tonight too, but this is Jackson Piazek. He's a senior, so I'm losing him. I tried to get teachers to fail him. I just couldn't do it. Didn't look good, so we're going to lose him next year, but he's going on to Hillsdale College to play golf. And then, of course, George Johnson, longtime assistant math teacher at North as well. So I don't have to read it because I kind of know this. So this has been a 2-year historic run. These guys made it to state last year, which is really hard to do. I mean, with the regional and sectional lineups that we face, really difficult. Jackson was the player of the year in the conference. He had been the runner-up the 2 years before that, and the year right after that. He's 3-time All-State. Connor was third team All-Conference. So we had a really stacked team. And for us the two things that we're really kind of proud of is we had two firsts that we believe Waukesha North had. We were the first Classic 8 conference champions for boys golf. Long time, and we're always up against the Catamarans and Arrowheads. You guys know that, so it's been really difficult. So for us to get that trophy in the cases, we're really proud of, and for us to be sectional champions at one of the toughest ones, and then to make it Black Wolf 2 years in a row, we're very proud. 3rd and 5th respectively. But thanks so much for having us. And I don't know, do you guys want to say anything? All right, Jackson.
We also earned the Gold Award last year for the academic all-team state, meaning we had the best cumulative GPA as a team, and then I think we're on pace to win that award again, so 2 years in a row being the best achieving school as far as academically, the best achieving team in the state, so that's pretty good as well.
That is good.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Also, one more thing. It was announced this week that Jackson was nominated for the Milwaukee High School Sports Award for boys golf. He's one of 12 athletes that were nominated for this award. And Friday night, he will be down at the Riverside, correct? Okay, we hope so, to claim that award for Waukesha North, his family, and everything else. So we really wish him luck for that. And this doesn't happen a lot of times, that Waukesha athletes get picked for this award. So if you happen to look at the Journal over the weekend, look for boys golf. And I'm hoping Jackson's name is down there for us. So again, thank you for allowing us to speak, and I hopefully didn't take too much time.
You're doing great, Dan.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to hear from Athletic Director Mr. Schreier to talk about the successes of the Waukesha South Black Shirts. So thanks for joining us, Dan.
Thanks for helping us celebrate our spring activities and sports. Congrats to all the North Stars. It's been great having Dan Domak back and around this spring. South has 6 groups we'd like to highlight. We want to celebrate and congratulate our forensics team who competed at state in April. Congrats to Pelham Hosler, Jiggy Rizada, who took home bronze medals, Samantha Stunter and Dakota Steltman, who earned silver medals, and Thea Youngsfam, who earned a perfect score from the judges, taking home gold this spring. Congratulations to our choir, orchestra, SWAP, and jazz ensemble students who competed at WSMA State. A shout out to Southside Singers, string choir, string quartet, flute trio, clarinet choir, saxophone choir, brass ensemble, percussion ensemble, and jazz ensemble, who all played at the state meet held at Carroll University. We'd also like to send out a save the date and an invite to the school board for our March Fest. It's the 2nd largest marching band festival in the state of Wisconsin. It's hosted at South on Saturday, September 28th, at our brand-new and improved stadium. We will have more information as the school year approaches. Congratulations to our 22 HOSA students who qualified for state. These students competed in their chosen events such as medical law and ethics, public health, and health career photography. South also has one student, junior Cy Vadium, who will be competing at nationals in June. Another shout out goes to our rock climbing team. We had 4 South climbers compete at state among 200 other competitors. These climbers competed for over 3 hours on 6 different routes, both a feat of endurance and stamina. Congrats to climbers Kimberly Gutierrez, Tyler Schmidt, Addison Berry, and Alicia Adjunton. At the winter celebration, we recognize our academic decathlon team. Since then, results have come in, and an individual congratulations goes to Jonathan Cook, who took first place in social science for the academic decathlon at the state competition. Our last South High congratulations goes to our boys and girls track teams. Freshman Anaya Harris qualified for her first state appearance, qualifying for the 100-meter hurdles with a time of 16.70 seconds. Anaya was joined at state by 3-time state qualifier senior Connor Boyle. Connor is a 3-sport athlete who is a current school record holder for the pole vault at an impressive 15 feet 6 inches, breaking an over 40-year-old school record. He is an indoor conference champion, an outdoor conference champion, and a sectional champion. Connor podiumed at state, taking 3rd place, and will compete at UW La Crosse next year. Thanks so much for helping us celebrate, and we're looking forward to a great fall at South.
Thanks, Dan. All right. Well, and lastly, I will report on the Waukesha West Wolverines. They had a very successful spring as well. The West Orchestra had 5 soloists who advanced to the State Solo Ensemble Festival Saturday, May 4th at Carroll. Senior Kevin Rotifer and junior Bridget Simmons both received 1s on their cello solos. Juniors Ava Schumacher and Laura Tausel received 1s on their violin solos. And freshman Zadabella Rodriguez received a 2 on her violin solo. And the West Chamber Orchestra also received a 1 and high praise from their adjudicator. The choir program at West had an action-packed spring. In late March, the choir took the stage at the Lincoln Center in New York City to a large and very appreciative crowd. In addition, the superior ratings at the District Music Festival, the master singers at West High School were giving a top rating at the State Music Festival, which included being named the most outstanding singing ensemble of the entire day. That's quite special. In band, 5 different Waukesha West band performances were nominated as exemplary performances at the WSMA State Solo and Ensemble Festival. That was Annabelle Rook for the bassoon solo, the Creative Jazz Combo, Nathan Martins with the tuba solo, Owen Ruck, a trombone solo, and Samuel Clark, a trombone solo. And we also had Jazz Ensemble 1 with a score of 1, which is the highest, Jazz Ensemble 2, a score of 2, Jazz Combo with a score of 1, and Brass Ensemble with a score of 1. And lastly, West also had state performances in academic decathlon, Model United Nations, rock climbing, forensics, boys and girls track. So, congratulations. Thank you all for joining us. It's always fun to do these 3 times a year, recognize fall, winter, and spring successes. And futuristically, one of the ideas we want to try is maybe to have a reception prior to the board meeting where you as the student athletes and the coaches and advisors can interact with the board members, maybe downstairs with some cookies and some snacks. We couldn't pull that off today because we had a WEF event at Carroll just prior to the meeting today. But we will test drive that in the fall, and that'll be another way to interact and just congratulate you for your great successes. So we hope you all have a wonderful summer, and we certainly want you to know you make us very Waukesha proud.
Congratulations, everyone. All right, I'm going to turn it right over to Mrs. Thede, who's going to announce our faculty recognition for June.
Hello, good evening. So this evening, I would like to recognize Jeffrey Tagey, who is the 23-24 Wisconsin Assistant Principal of the Year. So Jeffrey, if you could please stand up. So the Wisconsin Assistant Principal of the Year program recognizes assistant principals whose leadership has resulted in improved student learning, instructional collaboration, and a safe and positive school environment. So Jeffrey's nominator stated he is incredibly passionate and excited about student learning, staff support and morale, and creating a fun and positive environment. The selection panel read information about Mr. Tagley and Butler, including how he understands the importance of the use of data to increase student achievement. He has spent time organizing data walls and leading the school map assessment, goal setting, and monitoring to create structures and information to, as Mr. Tagley states, reduce the time spent on organizing data and increase the time spent on analyzing data. This has allowed staff to develop deep conversations about the state of the student's performance and intentionally plan for next steps. Through his leadership, he has seen a change in the focus of PLCs to the impact of instructional strategies. He has also empowered students to start new clubs and activities, increasing participation in extracurricular activities, which leads to greater student engagement. Mr. Tagley learns along with staff for professional development, showing his excitement for new learning, which enhances his support and collaboration with teachers when implementing new instructional strategies. Mr. Tagley stays informed as a lead learner on teaching strategies and techniques, so he is able to assist teachers as they learn, stretch, and grow. When working with a teacher who was struggling with lesson plans, Jeffrey modeled a detailed lesson plan and showed the connections from the learning targets to the intentional instruction to the student assessment and outcomes. He models his expectation and supports the teachers in their development. That, along with a new feedback system for staff planning, has led to impactful feedback around intentionally planning for all students, which will result in increased student achievement. Mr. Tagley represented Wisconsin in Washington, D.C. in January at the National Assistant Principal Celebration, and he'll get to network with principals from across the nation next month. So on behalf of the School District of Waukesha, I would like to congratulate Jeffrey Tagley on his accomplishments as Assistant Principal of the Year.
I asked Mrs. Thiede if I could take a moment to thank the administration and the board for this recognition of my professional accomplishments associated with this award. In my time in the district, I have and I continue to serve our communities in ways that has brought notoriety and financial gain to the district, both at a national and at an international level. As part of the process for earning this award, I was tasked with articulating my contributions to our system. I shared that I work to serve our system by serving all members of our community, but more specifically, equitably bringing voice to some of our most vulnerable and underrepresented communities, like our students of color, our students with disabilities, and our students who are members of the queer community. Students can't learn at high levels if they don't have access or opportunity because they don't feel emotionally safe, they do not feel seen, and they don't feel like they belong, as noted by some of the data on our district's Hope, Wellness, and Engagement Survey. I worked to help overcome some of these identified barriers so that we can fulfill our obligation of equitable service to all of our students and community members. I'm excited to report that at Butler, we've seen growth in our academic success for all students, but more importantly, in our vulnerable populations. Our continued support of all students through a lens of equity and inclusion will continue to close the achievement gap and disproportionate achievement by showing all students that they are valued and can achieve at high levels. Never in a million years would I have imagined that my life, my family's lives, my home, and my place of work would be repeatedly targeted and threatened simply because I'm a member of the queer community when I was honored for my work at the state and national level. I will not let these horrifyingly homophobic threats to my life stop me from doing what I believe is the right work. I'm always going to be an unapologetically proud gay administrator who serves all members of our community, because at Butler, our mission is building everyone's success together. I believe that things happen and work out for a reason, and so I thank the administration and the board for your recognition specifically in this month, because June is Pride Month. It's when we recognize and celebrate all members of the LGBTQIA+ community and the sacrifices and the contributions that they have made to promote and ensure equity, acceptance, and inclusion for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Being recognized in this way by your peers speaks volumes, so congratulations to you. All right, we do not have student representatives this evening. We do have one community member who has signed up to speak this evening. Because there are less than 6 speakers or less, the speaker will be notified at 3 minutes, but allowed up to 5 minutes to complete their comments. We expect all speakers to honor our time limit, refrain from using any inappropriate language, and to be respectful in their comments. Speakers who do not meet these expectations may be prohibited from speaking at future board or committee meetings. Speakers are here to address the board, not the audience. The school board does not endorse any comments made by members of the community here tonight. We'd like to remind our community members of the impact of their words on others and that our children are watching. We commit to communicating with you in respectful and productive ways and ask that you do the same. We also expect that the audience will be respectful of the speaker and of the board and refrain from responding with verbal comments, cheering, applause, or other behavior that will detract from the meeting. Please note that no obstructions can be created between the board and the audience. Visual aids cannot be used, and the area behind the speaker and podium will be clear during public comment. Also, in order to respect our speaker and our meeting participants, please silence your cell phone. Our speaker this evening will be Erica Kochansky.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate Jeffrey Taggy on being recognized as 2023 Wisconsin Associate Principal of the Year. Thank you for all you do for our district students, staff, and families. Now I'd like to switch gears. On April 18th, Dr. Piasek, Mr. Zenobia, Ms. Kozlowski, and Ms. Koenig attended the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty's School Board Summit on the district's dime. On May 21st, I sent the following email to Dr. Piasek. Good evening, Dr. Piasek. It's my understanding that you and 3 other Waukesha School Board members recently attended Will's School Board Summit. Can you tell me who approved this $600 public school district expenditure on a partisan event? When I asked Dr. Siebert, he indicated that you, in your capacity as board president, were most likely the one to do so. Is there a board policy you referenced to approve this expenditure? I'm concerned about the lack of checks and balances, which seems to have resulted in board leadership using public dollars to pay for elected officials to attend political events. I look forward to hearing from you. After waiting over a week for a response, I sent a follow-up email to Dr. Piasek on May 29th. Good morning, Dr. Piasek. I know you are a busy professional, but I'm hoping to receive a response from you soon regarding the email that I sent to you just over 1 week ago. Today is June 12th, and I have yet to receive any acknowledgement of my emails or answers to my questions. I thought this school board values transparency and parental rights. When will I receive an answer to my questions? I have some additional questions to add to those outlined in my email. If registered attendees had access to online recordings of all 6 sessions of the summit afterwards, why did the district opt to pay for 4 members to attend the event? How do you justify spending $600 on a partisan event, especially when there are numerous anecdotal accounts of teachers in this district being denied funding for continuing education opportunities and certifications? For anyone here who is unfamiliar with Will, I encourage you to explore its website. You'll find testimonials from current and former politicians, such as Ron Johnson, Tom Tiffany, Kevin McCarthy, and Scott Walker. Will's School Board Summit was co-hosted by the Noah Webster Educational Foundation and sponsored by School Boards for Academic Excellence, the 1848 Project, the Leadership Institute. All of these organizations are partisan in nature. The 1848 Project, for example, quote, empowers Wisconsin's conservative, credible leaders, candidates, and local elected officials, end quote. Dr. Piasek, I continue to look forward to your response to my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving into our general business, we'll start with minute approval for this evening. We have 2 sets of minutes for your consideration, both from May 8th. One is for the regular board meeting and one is for the executive session. I'd be looking for a motion to approve. Mrs. Voigt.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Borowski. Any discussion or changes? Okay, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Betty Koenig?
Aye.
Mark Borowski?
Aye.
Eric Brooks?
Aye.
David Wad?
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia?
Aye.
Mark Moore?
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski?
Aye.
Diane Voigt?
Aye.
Kelly Piasek?
Aye, passes 9-0. Next up is our WEF report, and we'll have that presented tonight by Mrs. Koenig.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. The Waukesha Education Foundation Board of Directors met on June 6, 2024. We will not be meeting in person again until September, giving our board members a well-deserved break. Thanks to those who were able to attend our Partners in Education reception earlier this evening. We love celebrating our scholarship winners, grant winners, business partners, and donors. About 90 people RSVP'd for this event, and it was very well attended. It was an enjoyable event right before our meeting. On May 23rd, we delivered our record $55,000 in grants to 55 administrators and staff members and teachers at 13 different schools in 6 hours. Ms. Voigt and I were able to participate in some of the deliveries. Thank you, Ms. Voigt. Thank you to Christine Schmidt from South High School for making the cookies using the Edible Designs printer we granted them last year. Thank you to Mary Jo King and Elena in the STW Communications Department for making our grant winners plaques for us. It was a great day, and the PDF of the Freeman article is available for you at your seats. Okay. The Casual for a Cause hit a whopping $23,000 this year. That is amazing, and we give a huge shout out to Sue Ettinger and all of the building admins for helping make this happen. While this isn't our fundraiser, we are the recipient of the proceeds, and 100% of those dollars go into our annual grant program. With more money coming in after our grant amount was announced in early April, we have put those additional dollars toward next year's totals, and we will hit the ground running. Thank you to Dr. Siebert and especially to Sue Ettinger. Okay, our golf outing is open for registration. We currently have 142 golfers with a goal of 172, so we need 30 more. The outing is marked as sold out of foursomes, but we have an open waiting list. When and if the wait list reaches 20 people, there are 4 on it now, we will reopen golfer registration. We have to guarantee 172 golfers to use all 3 courses, which is our goal. While we're okay taking a chance at a few extra foursomes, we cannot risk paying for 30 extra people. Please come golf or help us find golfers to join the wait list. You can visit wefgolf.givesmart.com or text WEF Golf to 76278 for more information. A handful of sponsorships also still remain. And save the date, August 1st, 2024 is the 18th annual golf outing. Madam President, that includes my WEF report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Thank you. You still have a month and a half to work on your golf game. So, get busy. All right, we're moving into the consent agenda, and we will begin with Mr. Clark, who will present the gifts.
2 gifts tonight. Lowell Elementary received $500 from Terry Stencil as a tribute to Evelyn Stencil, who worked in various positions at Lowell for 37 years. It is to be used for something special for the library. And Hatfield Elementary received an anonymous gift of $6,101.75 to be used for a variety of experiences for all students at Hatfield.
Thank you. Always grateful for those generous gifts. Your consent agenda tonight includes various categories for approval. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, you will have that opportunity in a moment. There are no expulsions for your consideration tonight. Policies that were approved by committee include policy 7250.01, memorials for staff and students, and policy 8120, volunteers. If any board member wishes to have an item set aside for separate consideration, please indicate so at this time. All right, Mr. Borowski, would you present the consent agenda for approval, please?
All right, thank you, Mrs. President. So earlier this evening, right before the board meeting, the Human Resource and Compensation Committee approved 32 resignations, 1 leave request, and 41 new or modified contracts. The information was provided in your packet, and an addendum was placed at your desk. I move that the consent agenda be approved as amended.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wad. All right, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Mark Belmore.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 9-0. And now moving on to the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Dr. Piasek. I'll begin tonight with the recently approved field trip report. This is a unique one. It's just one. We have a student from West who qualified for the HOSA Nationals. HOSA stands for Health Occupation Students of America. It's in Houston. We didn't have any other students from West going, or a team. And so we worked with her parents and with the New Berlin School District, and she's actually going with the New Berlin team. So she'll get a chance to participate. A great example of how we can partner and collaborate as local school districts to provide opportunities for students. So we're excited for, her name is Rita, to go to Houston and hopefully do very well. Then, I also wanted to, this is not a news flash, but we've reached the summer, and it felt like the summer today for about the first time. But we had a very successful 23-24 school year. We finalized everything, as you all know, because you participated last Thursday at Waukesha East, and then on Saturday at North, South, West, and eAchieve in the graduation ceremony. So thank you for joining us for those. Very joyous events, and we want to congratulate all of the seniors. And then also, as a part of district history, this year was the 50th anniversary of North High School, and to date, 16,254 students have graduated from North. 2 of those multiple students this year were the son of Dr. Piasek, Jackson, who you saw here this evening, and then certainly Allison, the daughter of Mr. Watt. So congratulations to both of you on having graduates from North. And now, it's time to start digging in deeper for as we plan for next year. So on yesterday, we had our strategic planning day at Les Paul. Jen did a great job leading that, and it was a wonderful afternoon with the school leadership teams and principals. Today was the actual first Act 20 literacy training, one of those required trainings that has to happen for the administrators, 4 of them over the summer. The first one was today. That was also very successful with the elementary principals. And then tomorrow, we have our first all-day summer administrator meeting, so we're excited about that as well. So there is lots of excitement as you wrap up one school year, but we've already been planning, and we'll continue to ratchet up that planning for the 24-25 school year throughout the summer. And then we'll also, as I look forward, have some really nice summer weather to enjoy, so I hope you all get a chance to enjoy that, as well as we'll have a little bit of a break after we finish our activities here this evening. So that concludes my report, Dr. Piasek. Thank you.
Thank you. It's definitely getting warmer.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it is.
the boardroom's holding up well tonight. All right, we will begin our committee reports, and tonight we're going to start with policy and government relations, which will be presented by Mr. Wad.
Thank you, Mrs. President. The Policy and Government Relations Committee met on Monday, June 12th of 2024. The agenda included 2 policy revisions, which were just approved at the, or that were approved at the committee and just included and approved on the consent agenda this evening. Those were 7250.01, memorials for staff and students, and then 8120, volunteers. In addition, 2 new policies were also on the agenda. The first was Policy 7544. This is a new policy, use of social media. It was reviewed and discussed at committee, and we have asked for it to be taken back for some additional potential revisions, including clarification and delineation between staff personnel use and district use, and also to compare this new policy to existing district policies that reference social media, such as 7540.03, which deals with student technology, acceptable use, and safety. We want to make sure those are appropriately aligned. The second new policy on the agenda was Policy 8407, School Resource Officer Program. Actually, I'm going to stop. I probably should have asked if there were any questions on 7544, use of social media, before I moved into the other policy.
Mrs. Koenig?
It's not really a question. I just want to let you all know that the committee, how I appreciated the conversation and the thoroughness you guys, had with discussing it. There is a lot to unpack there. So I also agree. I think it could go back for a little further discussion, but I really appreciate the time and thoughtfulness you guys put into that meeting regarding that one.
Mr. Moore?
Thank you for that, Ms. Koenig. Yeah, we, as a committee, definitely took the time to have a conversation around that because of words getting misconstrued and different understandings. So I want to just say thank you to my colleagues on that committee. We were able to all work together to kind of process that. And again, we will take it back for revision and then bring it back to the general board. So.
Anybody else? Okay.
All right. So, as I began to say earlier, the second new policy on the agenda was Policy 8407, School Resource Officer Program. This new policy is designed to acknowledge the existence of a school resource officer program itself and provide a framework for establishing written agreement between a law enforcement agency and the board. The committee voted to approve the addition of Policy 8407, School Resource Officer Program, and I so move.
And I second the motion.
I saw Mrs. Voigt first, so seconded by Mrs. Voigt. Any other discussion about that? Mr. Watt?
Yes, thank you. I just want to, first of all, I want to thank the administration for actually crafting this policy and bringing it forward. As I had mentioned in the committee meeting on Monday, one of the things that I think is really important, and it was also brought up by Dr. Siebert when he presented it, having the policy not only codifies the relationship, but it also makes a statement about the fact that this district values that program and that we want and celebrate having school resource officers in our schools. I think all of us are aware that not every school district is as welcoming or as anxious to have school resource officers in their schools. And while that's certainly their prerogative, I believe this community has made it clear that they want and appreciate our commitment to it, and now we've codified it into policy. And I also like what it says about, in terms of the policy, what we expect from the program, and what we've seen is that really strong relationship and respect it builds between our school resource officers and our students. So I was really proud to be able to vote to bring that forward on committee, and I'm looking forward to voting to approve it finally here tonight.
Thank you. Any further comments? Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, just echoing Mr. Wadd's comments. Really glad that we're taking action to, send a message that we support law enforcement and support our SROs here. Especially, I think the timing of it is great, coming off of a really insightful Student Services Committee back in May, where we heard Officer Ernst come in and just do a great job of explaining the relationship that our school resource officers have with not just our schools and our school district, but with the students as well, and the positive relationships that they're forming with them. So definitely share Mr. Wadd's sentiments, and I look forward to supporting this.
All right. Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Anthony Zenobia?
Aye.
Eric Brooks?
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski?
Aye.
Mark Moore?
Aye.
Mark Borowski?
Aye.
Diane Voigt?
Aye.
Betty Koenig?
Aye.
David Wad?
Aye.
Kelly Piasek?
Aye, passes 9-0. Back to you, Mr. Wad.
All right, thank you. Finally, during the government relations portion of the meeting, Dr. Siebert reported that he and several board members met with Representative Adam Nalen on June 10th, 2024. The topics discussed included special education funding, school start date, low revenue ceiling increase, and common school funds. A meeting with Representative Scott Allen is scheduled for Wednesday, June 19th at 3 p.m. In addition, Dr. Siebert will work to schedule more meetings with representatives in the near future. Right, if there's no further comments on that, I can report that the next Policy and Government Relations Committee meeting will be held on August 12th, 2024. This concludes my report.
Thank you. All right, our next committee for report out tonight is the Finance and Facilities Committee, given by Mrs. Kozlowski.
The Finance and Facilities Committee meeting met on Monday, June 10th. The agenda included 3 action items and 2 discussion items. The first action item was the review of the STEM Charter Agreement. STEM principal Dan Paczynski and James Murray were in attendance to provide information and answer questions related to the STEM charter schools. The 5-year contract will commence on July 1st, 2024, and continue through June 30th, 2029. The committee approved the 5-year renewal of the STEM Charter Agreement, and I so move.
Mrs. Voigt?
I second the motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Voigt. Any questions or discussion? You know, just coming from the WEF reception earlier tonight where we were all flying drones around the ballroom, I think we have a great appreciation for what's happening in our STEM charters, so lots of good stuff. All right, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Aye.
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 Aye, passes 9-0.
The second action item is the eAchieve Elementary and Secondary Charter Agreements. Jason Smith, principal of eAchieve Academy, was also in attendance to provide information and answer questions related to the eAchieve programs. The 5-year contract will commence on July 1st, 2024, and continue through June 30th, 2029. The committee approved the eAchieve Elementary and Secondary Charter Agreements, and I so move.
Second.
Seconded, it's actually seconded by Mrs. Voigt. You can just say second. All right, any questions or comments? Mr. Moore?
So I would just like to say, on Saturday, I had the opportunity to attend eAchieve graduation with commencement with Ms. Voigt. It was only us 2 there, but I just want to let the board know, I was just so moved by this opportunity these students get for being online, and seeing them in person, meeting each other for the first time in person was just amazing. And I think that it was a commencement that I'd never seen before. And so I definitely had a great time there. It was one of the best commencements I've ever been to. And so I just want to let you know that those students really have got a lot of stories and the reasons why they ended up online and how they, got there. And so if you have a chance, get to talk to the students and families. Get to attend a commencement next year. If you have a chance for eAchieve, I just say they're doing wonderful things with that school. So,
Mrs. Voigt?
And as he mentioned, it was one of the commencements I had a chance to attend, and I've been to many of them since I was part of the program 20 years ago when we first started the IQ Academy of Wisconsin. And I was really impressed that Jason did a tribute to my coworker at that time, our administrator, Christine, who started the program, and just the amazing accomplishments that we've made over the last 20 years. It's kind of an anniversary of sorts, and it was like a celebration of just how many students we've been able to serve all across the state of Wisconsin through that program over those 20 years.
Mr. Brooks?
Thank you. One of the things that I really appreciated from the committee discussion on eAchieve's charter was the thoughtfulness that they had put into thinking about going forward what they can do to continue to improve this program, which is already having a lot of success, and how they can market it to try to attract more families to utilize it. Obviously, the market for online learning has really skyrocketed recently, and so there's a lot more competition, a lot of different things that are being kind of tested out in various programs. I know one of the things they mentioned was we have a great track record of serving students with IEPs in our eAchieve program and potentially marketing that to try to attract more families with kids with disabilities and special ed backgrounds to use the program. So I was grateful to hear that. Looking forward to what they do going forward to continue to improve this program.
Mrs. Voigt?
If I can piggyback on that, I had a chance to sit with eAchieve yesterday at the goal-setting session, and that's exactly what we were talking about, is how to be able to better serve the special needs students and be able to communicate that. So it's that's the great thing about the day yesterday, is it gives them a chance to have the elementary special ed teachers together and focusing exactly on that mission. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Mr. Wad?
Yes, thank you. So, kind of dovetailing on something Mr. Brooks was talking about, we did have a discussion around enrollment within our eAchieve as it compares to other virtual schools within the state. Obviously, with COVID, lots of new virtual schools were started. Some are continuing to expand their enrollment. It's a small number, but they're expanding. Ours is not one of them. And so I'm glad that there are people willing to talk about ways to grow this, because right now, I don't know if a lot of people in the public realize this or not, but eAchieve is a profit center for us. The more students that we bring in, the more revenue that we get that helps, and because of the cost of running eAchieve being not as expensive as brick and mortar classrooms, it helps to contribute to the overall servicing of students in the district. And it's critical that we begin to find ways to attract either the students who have left us to come back or new students to come and find us. So I think that's something that I hope is a priority within the district and at eAchieve in the coming year, to try to flush some of those things out and get creative in ways that we can expand the enrollment. I also just want to point out, and I sometimes feel like it's important sometimes to make these kinds of statements, because I don't know that everyone in the public always knows it. I happened to be reading the paper today, and there were a lot of public comments from people who want to criticize charter schools. And I won't go into which charter school and so forth, but as some sort of a threat to public education. I want to remind everyone, we just approved a charter school in STEM. eAchieve is a charter school. Charter schools are authorized by government agencies. This idea that somehow charter schools are a threat to public schools is a notion that needs to be disabused. And I think as school board members who serve hundreds, close to thousands of students through charter schools chartered by our school district, but also with students from our school district who are getting fine educations at charter schools, both in this community and outside. I want to encourage people to rethink their view of charter schools if they are of the notion that somehow charter schools are a threat to public education. They are a great supplement to them, and there are many, many students who are more engaged academically because they are going to schools, whether they're virtual, whether they're STEM, classical, whatever the case may be. They're getting educations that fit their needs better. And we as school board members, who I believe are entrusted with ensuring that all of the students that either attend our district or live within our district boundaries get the possibility for the best education they can.
Thank you. Okay, we do have a live motion, I think, on the table. All right. Any further comments? Mr. Moore.
Question to Mr. Watt's statement. Do we have I don't know if we do or not, do we have an enrollment counselor? Like, I know some charter schools have like enrollment counselors, working with families to enroll them, making sure that we're getting, our numbers up, or I'm not sure if we do or not. That's
I think that would be a question for administration. I want to make sure that we stay germane to the topic, though. We're in an active motion to approve the eAchieve charter. Is that relevant to your decision?
Yeah, no, it was, I apologize. I was just asking this evening.
Mrs. Scannerman?
We do have student services staff as well as an enrollment coordinator who works in eAchieve specifically to help students enroll. They work side by side with our transportation enrollment department as well, and bilingual.
Anything else? Okay. Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
David Wad.
Aye.
Mark Elmore.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye. Passes 9-0.
The final action item was the Express Swim contract. The administration presented the Express Swim contract to the committee and was shared additional information related to the cost of operating the South High School pool for a typical year. The 3-year contract covers October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2027, with 2 one-year mutually agreeable extension terms. The committee approved the new contract as presented. Per board policy, the committee is authorized to approve lease agreements of this type. There is no action required of the Board of Education.
Any questions about that particular? All right.
There were 2 discussion items. The first discussion item is the monthly budget report. Year-to-date revenue and expenditures are running at 78 to 80% of the budget, which is within the normal range for this phase of the budget. There were no concerns raised or identified by administration in anticipation of meeting the year-end budget. The second discussion item was the draft of the 2024-2025 preliminary budget. The administration explained that they will present and ask for approval of the preliminary 2024-25 tax levy and budget in August. This action will allow the preliminary budget and tax levy to be presented at the budget hearing in September. Work on the final budget and levy will continue until late October, when the board is asked to approve the final budget and tax levy. The next FNF meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 12, 2024, at 5:30 in the boardroom. Madam President, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Our next committee report tonight is Teaching and Learning, which is going to be given by Mrs. Koenig.
Thank you, Madam President. The Teaching and Learning Committee met last week, Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. 3 discussion items appear on the agenda for Teaching and Learning this evening. Our first discussion item is the personalized learning update. Since January of 2024, the middle school teams have been working to bring consistency as the personalized learning programs are being phased out. This report provided an update on the personalized learning programs at the middle school level. Dee Garcia, Director of Teaching and Learning for Middle School, shared information on the student enrollment within the personalized learning programs, how students can be cohorted, student enrollment to STEM middle school, and the progress made toward using district-approved curriculum. In summary, all students in a personalized learning program will use district-adopted curricular resources next year. In addition, each school has an individualized curriculum scope and sequence to ensure that students phasing out of the program are successful academically. With current 6th grade and student enrollment numbers, Horning Middle School will be the only school to have a 6th grade cohort for the 24-25 school year. Since January, staff and families have received updates from the middle school principals. Any comments or questions? Okay. Next, we have the high school schedule update. At the November Teaching and Learning meeting, the committee approved the implementation of a high school block schedule for the 24-25 school year. With this change, students will be guaranteed 4 90-minute blocks per day, alternating on days A and B, for a total of 8 classes each semester, ensuring compliance with Wisconsin DPI instructional minutes. With this format, students will continue to participate in semester and year-long classes. Since the board approved the change in the schedule, the high school team has provided common messaging on instructional guarantees moved homeroom to the end of the day with flexibility for students in good standing, and engaged in a practice week of a 90-minute block schedule. Feedback from staff and students was shared along with next steps. Next steps included making curriculum revisions and providing additional professional development for staff to establish routines and structures for all to be successful. Ms. Moore?
Raquel?
Thank you. I spoke to administration about this too. I'm still struggling with the fact that why homeroom is at the end of the day. And not in the beginning. I'm not, against it. I'm trying to just understand that rationale as a educator myself. Why is homeroom at the end of the day? And so that's all I have to say.
Mrs. Voigt?
I want to commend the student who presented a consideration to the schedule, to be able to be more aware of the alignment with the Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday classes that many of our dual enrollment students are looking to be involved in at the collegiate level. And I was very impressed with the presentation that was originally a Monday, rotational day, and switching it to Friday. That, again, just the collaborative effort to be able to make this, work as best it can, I think is really commendable.
Mr. Brooks?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited about the shift to block scheduling. I think it's something that will benefit both students and staff. I've always, the chance I had to work in this was when I was in student teaching, and I thought, no way can I make a 90-minute block work, and I loved it. I know this was something too when it first was proposed that I'd heard from folks who had a little bit of anxiety because change is hard. But this is something that I think once kids get into the rhythm of it and staff get into the rhythm of it, it's really going to benefit everyone. I was really encouraged at the Teaching and Learning Committee to hear all the positive feedback that students, families, staff had shared during that trial run, especially with regard to the special ed department too. I know when it comes to kids with IEPs, consistency and having a stable routine is very important. And so that, there may be, it may be a little bit more challenging at first to get those kiddos into a consistent pattern there, but the feedback that we had heard from special ed teachers was also very encouraging. So really looking forward to this change being implemented.
I'm just going to add that I think like anything, there's pros and cons and trade-offs. And what I've really appreciated about our high school administrative team and district leadership team is it's not been a unilateral mandate. I think there's been a lot of discussion and dialogue, and the different high schools have different things that they're looking out for, and things that work for them maybe don't work the same for other high schools. So it has been, I think, a very productive and collaborative process. And I know they're still working on some of the things that have been raised by students and staff and some of those challenges. So on a positive note, we're not doing something that's never been done before, but we're going to learn from the various districts that have implemented different variations of the block schedule. And I'm optimistic that we're going to come out with something that works really well for our students in our district. And I think they're very cautiously keeping in mind some of those trade-offs and potential consequences that we're going to try to avoid. So, anything else on that? All right, Mrs. Koenig, back to you.
All right, our third discussion or information item is an update on the planetarium. This report provided the current status of the Horwitz-DeReamer Planetarium's role in supplementing classroom learning by providing field trip opportunities that are an extension of the grade level curriculum. Since its inception, the Horwitz-DeReamer Planetarium has been a resource to all STW teachers and students for its educational field trip programs. How these trips are keeping the content interesting and relevant for each grade level was presented. The goal is to ignite interest in our STW students for potentially pursuing STEM educational and occupational opportunities. We are so incredibly blessed to have the Horwitz-DeReamer Planetarium as a resource for our STW students and the surrounding community as well.
Mrs. Voigt.
I just want to commend the impressive presentation that was at the meeting this week, and just the gem that we truly have in our planetarium for the district.
Yeah, it's amazing. That presentation was fantastic. Madam President, that concludes the Teaching and Learning Committee report. Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, at 7 p.m. in the boardroom here at the Blair Administration Building. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Koenig. Moving on, our next committee is the Student Services Committee, presented by Mr. Zenobia.
Thank you, Dr. Piasek. The Student Services Committee met on June 4th here in the boardroom, and we had two discussion items, our first of which dealt with academic and social behavior curriculum review. Mark Leonard, our Director of Student Services, and Lisa Paula, Director of Secondary Special Education, presented us information on the current state of our academic and social behavior curriculum work. Prior to renewing subscriptions or purchases of resources, the team is modeling their work in student services after the curriculum review process done in teaching and learning. Student Services team has reviewed standards and competencies, identified the current resources used across the system, and begun to research potential resources for future recommendations. The team selected 3 Tier 1 resources to review. Those are Second Step, Navigate 360, and Character Strong. After further review and gathering feedback, recommendations, and other information, there will be recommendations made to the cabinet and the board in our August meeting. Any questions or comments on that? Our second discussion information item was on the role of the special education teacher. Now, throughout the year, the Student Services Committee has brought forward a number of presenters describing individual roles here within the district. Covered so far, we've talked with the school social workers, psychologists, resource officers, and counselors. Hadassah Robinson and Lisa Paulin, our directors of special education, were joined by special education teachers, Navy Rivera and from Higher, and Katie Donahue from South High. Throughout the presentation, Ms. Rivera, and Ms. Donahue stressed the importance of collaboration with regular education teachers so that their students are able to access and participate in Tier 1 instruction with accommodations. Teachers shared their daily schedules and shared how IEP services are provided throughout each week of the school day. The special ed teachers were responsible for each child's IEP. This included designing, implementing, progress monitoring, the academic and behavioral interventions, planning and leading individual education plans and meetings. Special education teachers also train and supervise special ed paraprofessionals to ensure the fidelity of interventions and supports across education environments. And we currently have 137 special education teachers in the school district of Waukesha. Any questions or comments on that?
I thought that was also an excellent presentation. It's really great to see all those pieces come together. And as they mentioned, it's really difficult to talk about the day in the life because every day is quite different, but.
Very much so.
Yeah, appreciated that. Mr. Watt?
Yeah, so I actually don't have any questions on any of the items discussed, but I do have a general question around the Student Services Committee. I see it identified every month as an ad hoc committee. Is it in fact an ad hoc committee? And if it's not, or if it is, do we need to think about changing that?
It's actually not, and we need to update how it's posted because the policy was changed last year. So if you look at the committee's policy, it actually is formally listed as a committee. So we should just update the way that it's posted. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder, though.
That concludes the report. We will be meeting on Tuesday, August 6th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zenobia. All right, our last committee report for this evening is the Human Resources and Compensation Committee given by Mr. Borowski.
All right, thank you, Mrs. President. We did have 2 action items this evening. The first one is approval of the resolution of teacher base wage increase. So earlier this evening, the HR and Compensation Committee approved a resolution to implement the board's last offer to the EAW for base wage increase. For some background, the EAW advised the district that it will not accept the district's last offer, resulting in an impasse. Information was provided in board docs to you all. Therefore, Mr. President, I move to approve the resolution for teacher base wage increase of 4.12% CPI wage adjustment over the 23-24 base wage, which results in an effective rate increase of 2.69% per cell on the teacher salary schedule for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Markel Moore.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
I need to abstain to avoid any perceived conflict of interest.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 801. Thank you.
All right, the second item is approval of supplemental wages for teachers for the 2024-2025 lanes and steps. A salary schedule is not subject to negotiation. In fact, it would be a violation of Act 10 to negotiate the schedule with the Education Association of Waukesha. With the salary schedule that was implemented back in 24-2015 school year, the board approved step and lane advancement each year since then. Using the approved salary advancement process, which was approved in August of 2015, it's recommended that steps and lanes be approved for the 2024-2025 school year in accordance with the strategic compensation plan. And before I make a motion, I also just wanted to make note that if steps and lanes are approved, that would result in over half of our staff actually get an increase of CPI or well above that. So while the effective rate is 2.69, in reality, over half the staff is going to get 4.12% or above that. So with that being said, I move to approve the supplemental wage increases for 2024-2025 for employees of the teacher bargaining group.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any questions about that or how that schedule works? Seeing none, Mrs. Ettinger, would you take the roll call, please?
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Eric Brooks.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Markel Moore.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Again, I need to abstain.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye, passes 801.
All right, the HR and Compensation Committee meeting will next meet on August 14th before the board meeting, and Mrs. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Borowski. Moving on to other business, are there any requests for future board or committee action or discussion items? I'm not seeing any. I understand we do not have a need for an executive session this evening. Okay. I do want to point out that our next meeting will actually be on Wednesday, July 10th at 5 p.m. That meeting's being held at 5 p.m. in July. As you heard from the various committee reports, there are no standing committees that are scheduled for July. If a statutory or time-based need arises, we may need to convene a committee as needed, but at the present time, we do not have committees scheduled for July. So the next board meeting will be Wednesday, July 10th, here in the boardroom at 5 p.m. And that adjourns our meeting for tonight.